In a quiet village surrounded by vast forests, there was a young elephant named Golu. Golu was small, playful, and full of life. His innocence was evident in his eyes, and he had no idea of the dangers lurking around him. He spent his days roaming the woods, playing near the village, and bringing joy to the hearts of those who saw him. But not everyone in the village saw Golu's innocence. Some feared that his growing size could bring destruction to their homes and fields. Driven by fear and greed, 5 men from the village were hired to capture and kill the little elephant. They believed that by removing him, they could ensure their safety. They prepared their weapons and set off into the forest, determined to end Golu's life. They knew that it would not be easy, but their hearts were hardened by their mission. The men eventually found Golu, unaware of their intentions. The young elephant played in the sun, his innocent laughter echoing through the trees. When the men surrounded him, Golu sensed the danger. He tried to run, but his small legs couldn't carry him fast enough. They trapped him, tying his legs with ropes and holding him down. As the men raised their weapons to strike, a young man named Arif, one of the 5, stepped forward. His heart twisted as he looked at Golu's terrified eyes. Something about the elephant's vulnerability moved him deeply. He couldn't bring himself to hurt the creature. Arif was a man who had grown up loving nature, and he saw in Golu the same innocence he had once had as a child. The other men, seeing Arif hesitate, grew angry. "You're weak! He's just an animal! A threat to our lives!" they shouted. But Arif, overcome with guilt, could not follow through. Instead, he made a decision that would change everything. He whispered to Golu, "Don't be afraid. I'll protect you." For days, Arif secretly cared for Golu in the woods. He would bring him food and water, and slowly the young elephant began to trust him. Their bond grew, and Arif began to see the elephant as more than just a creature of the wild. They became friends, and Arif realized that Golu was not a threat at all, but a gentle soul, just like him. But despite their growing friendship, Arif knew the men would never stop hunting Golu. One day, as he was walking with Golu deep into the forest, they were spotted by the same group of men who had tried to kill him. The men, furious that Arif had defied them, rushed forward with weapons drawn. Arif made a choice that would change everything. He told Golu, "Run, my friend, run and never look back. The forest is your home now. Don't let them hurt you." Golu, with tears in his eyes, hesitated for a moment before he obeyed Arif's command and ran deep into the jungle, away from the men. The group of hunters, realizing that they couldn't catch him, turned back in frustration. But before they could leave, Arif stood firm, facing them. "You'll never harm him again," he said, his voice filled with determination. In that moment, the men realized that they could not go against the will of nature and compassion, but the price had been high. As the men turned away, Arif collapsed to his knees. He had given everything to save the life of the young elephant, but in doing so, he had lost his own. Days passed, and Golu never forgot the man who had saved him. Every day, he would visit the spot where Arif had last stood, and in his heart, he would remember the young man who had given up his life to protect him. Years later, the villagers would tell tales of a small elephant who roamed the jungle, forever loyal to the man who had saved him. Golu would often pause by the river, his eyes glistening with memories, as if he could still hear Arif's voice telling him to be free. The villagers never forgot Arif's sacrifice. His name lived on, and in the heart of the jungle, the spirit of a little elephant and a protector would forever be intertwined.